Hey guys, Script Trooper here with another video, and I wanted to do this because it's very confusing. I'm trying to understand what's going on. And shout out to Melvin, Knights of Melvin. He held on to some of the footage, especially with The Last Jedi. Very difficult to find some of Theory's opinions on some of this stuff, his initial opinions. And Knights of Melvin managed to get that stuff off the net before it went private. And so thank you for that, buddy, and I appreciate that. But the thing that is so confusing right now for me, just looking at this situation, is I see a person who right now is, many would say, is part of, the quote, fandom menace, right? Everything's bad. Everything Star Wars puts out is problematic. And it's just garbage. Disney's garbage. And I mean, there's many, many examples. Here's just a couple of them.
You wonder why Star Wars is in such a state where no one is interested anymore. Nobody gives a crap. Star Wars is pretty dead. I don't even feel too inclined to be making videos. I just feel like Disney has just, really, it's just beyond fatigue. It's like kind of a joke at this point.
Now, my issue there is that if you go back and look at a lot of the stuff that this person has been saying, that Star Wars Theory has been saying over the years. Now, I've only been on the tube for 3 years, so a lot of this stuff I'm just discovering the last little while. I'm pretty shocked because I have been watching his videos for a little while now, and I have noticed a couple things where I was like, what? But I never realized the extremes, because there was a time when this guy was very, very positive. Always positive, actually, when stuff would come out. And now all of a sudden, he isn't. Or over time, after the fact, after the hype of whatever the project is wears off, then he seems to switch to another perspective. Now, everyone's allowed to change their mind. I'm not saying you're not allowed to change your mind, but it seems to be almost epidemic. And I'll give you some examples where it's super, super positive, and then everything dies down, and then it's back to the negative. So I want to show you guys there's very little stuff out there that I could find. Maybe there's like dudes out there that are better at searching and know what to do, but here's just a couple clips of what he thought about Episode 7.
So it was fun, but it was a good movie.
He says there it's a good movie. Okay.
Sure, I can understand Episode 7 was sick. It was a good movie.
So Episode 7 was sick. It was a good movie. He said it twice. He now says he doesn't like it. He now says he doesn't like the sequels. So I'm trying to understand why that would be. And I think I might know why. It's a bit of an accusation, but we'll see. Then you look at what he said about The Last Jedi. And again, thank you, Melvin, for this, because I couldn't find this anywhere else.
While The Last Jedi is a great film, The Last Jedi is a great film. Last Jedi, great film. That said, I did enjoy the film. As he held his green Return of the Jedi lightsaber and was about to slash down at Ben to murder him in his sleep. I really enjoyed that flashback. I would see the film twice just for those two flashbacks alone.
Like, what? What? This guy has bashed this movie incessantly in the last, couple of years. Maybe even longer, because like I said, I'm a noob. But I'd see it twice. It's almost, and this is kind of the point I'm kind of getting at here, it's almost like he's saying these films and projects are really, really good when they're out, when there's the ability to go to the theater and buy a ticket and watch them. And then later on, after everything dies down, then he's critical and they're garbage and Disney's garbage. And it's been downhill ever since Disney took over. So it makes you wonder. I'm not making any kind of accusations that they're paying him or any of these stupid ideas, because at the end of the day, I don't know. I do know that his channel, when he does live streams, he does get a lot more views and viewership when he's positive rather than negative. And then at some point down the line, and you see lately the last year or so, he's doing streams with Ryan Kennel and Mahler and Critical Drinker and guys that are sort of on the other side, that have been on the other side the entire time. But there was a time when he was on the pro-Disney side heavily with virtually every project. And then he flips, and you're kind of like, is that because the internet floated towards or moved towards the negative as time's gone on. Maybe more and more people are getting more and more negative, and stuff that they liked. Maybe they liked the sequels, but they're really starting to hate it based on some of the shows. Is there a bigger audience, I guess is what I'm saying, for the negative side? And so you sort of go that direction because maybe there's growth there. I'm not saying, I'm just saying you do get to a point. I think, a lot of channels do, a lot of these bigger channels on any topic, they do get to the point where they can't get any bigger. And this is a person that I'm related to in an extended family, and she had a channel and when she was younger and did, makeup and stuff like that. And then as she got older, it was harder and harder to grow the channel. So she started branching out into doing more and more things. More and more of her life was on camera, more and more live streams, less privacy, trying on outfits, things of that nature. So when you get to a certain point, and you're looking around and you're saying, I've peaked, and I'm not even saying that's what he thought. I'm just saying this is what some people think with their channels. I've peaked. What do? I need to branch out, or I need to do things differently. But the amount of positivity that was there, and the thing about it that kind of bugs me too, is that in that clip, and he's talking about how those flashbacks make him want to go back to watch it again. Those were the scenes that that was the knife in the back for the fandom and for what they did to Luke. I mean, I don't know how a guy who loves Star Wars could have possibly seen it any other way, but at the time the movie came out, he did. Or did he? And maybe he was just saying that. That's the question, because we don't know, because he's gone, he's flip-flopped, right? So we don't know. So what is his real opinion? Is it the ones he gives right at the beginning? Or is it later on? Which is it? Why the switching? So here's episode 9. There's a lot more footage of episode 9 of him, but again, very similar.
Episode 9. Beautiful. I loved it. For what we got after The Last Jedi.
Okay, so here he's making the comment that for what we got after The Last Jedi, which was not a good film. So now he's saying The Last Jedi bad, this film good, especially in comparison to Last Jedi. Again, it's very confusing. Like, I thought The Last Jedi was awesome. I thought you wanted to go see it 3 times because of the Luke flashbacks. I'm very confused.
Well, I just saw the end to the Skywalker saga. I just saw the end of episode 9. So when it comes down to critiquing this, I'm not a critique. I'm not here to hate on it. I'm not here to love on it. I don't get anything from Disney at all. If you guys know me, you guys know I get nothing. Not that I should, but just to let you guys know, there's nothing behind this.
Why would you say that? Like, he's at the point now when he's reviewing episode 9 that he's not super positive on The Force Awakens anymore. Rey's a Mary Sue, and so he's been negative on those other 2 films. So now he feels like he has to say, "Oh, I'm not getting paid by Disney to say this." Why would you say that? Why wouldn't you just give your review? Because now he's super negative on The Rise of Skywalker, whereas initially he was clapping for it. So it goes back to my earlier point. It feels like he says he likes it, whether he does or not, when it's out and people can pay money to go see it. But then I'm thinking, like, what is your motivation for that? And the only thing I can think of is, again, his live streams, at least from what I can see, have been more successful when he's being positive. He draws in the Disney Star Wars fans, but then over time he gets critical, and then he ends up doing live streams with Mahler. So I don't. It feels like there's got to be some benefit to coming out positively, even if you don't believe that. Like, I really cannot believe that he actually thinks that this is a good movie, or that he actually liked what they did with Luke. Because now, of course, he says he hated what they did with Luke in The Last Jedi. There's no way when it came out he liked that. Is it? Is it possible? Is it possible somebody could change their mind like that on, like, everything? I don't know.
This movie, Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker, in my opinion, was really amazing. I genuinely, wholeheartedly loved this movie. I really did.
I don't know the guy, but that doesn't seem super genuine, even in his face. It feels like he's saying it because it's almost like he has to say it. And again, that's a judgment call. I could be wrong. He doesn't like it now, so I don't know. It's pretty weird. Like, let's listen to that again, that last part of it again. Let's listen to that part again.
I genuinely, wholeheartedly loved this movie. I really did.
He looked away when he said loved. His face, I don't know. Just saying. There has to be some benefit to doing this because this doesn't make sense because, again, he now despises it. So I'm trying to figure out what's going on.
When it comes to Star Wars, this is my thing. This is my bread and butter, man. This is like... It was a good movie. Was it amazing? Was it perfect? No. And I'm going to get to that in this video. Was it great? Yes. Did it have a lot of fan service? Yes. Did it correct a lot of the things that The Last Jedi broke and, quote unquote, you know, a little dramatic, but spat on the faces of the fans?
See, again, we're back to The Last Jedi bad. So by the time The Rise of Skywalker comes out, he's totally despises The Last Jedi, which when The Last Jedi was out, he said he loved it and wanted to go back 2 more times to see it. And then in this particular case, again, another year or so after this, he hates The Rise of Skywalker, just like he now apparently hates The Last Jedi. So, which is it, dude? Like, who are you? Who is, like, can the real theory stand up, please, and tell us what he really thinks? Put this to rest, because this is insane. And I guess he did delete this video as well. This was his initial, I think it was like a 25-minute video or something like that. And he has privatized it. He privatized it quite a while ago. So, it's like, why would you do that? Because you don't want people to see that you liked it, or what's going on? It's just really weird.
Yeah, it wiped it up and gave us a little kiss.
Or actually, maybe this was the live stream, the 2-hour one. I get them confused, but this, anyways, one of them was privatized. I don't remember what.
I'm not gonna BS you guys. I teared up several times.
Does that feel authentic to you? Like the way he's saying it? I don't know.
This was a good movie. I really enjoyed it. That was my... I'd say that was my spoiler-free review. So now we're going to get on to the spoilers. I'm happy. I think it was great. I really loved it. I don't know what the hell these critics and people are talking about. They're giving it... It's really like, you don't need to... I don't know why they're giving it so much hate. I think this movie was fantastic. I think it was great. I think it fixed a lot of the problems in Episode 8. And I think it was very true to Star Wars. It was just a cool, like the fight scenes were cool. The force powers were cool. I'm a happy man. It was a good movie. I enjoyed it. Go see it.
See, like, go see it. I don't know. It's like, you guys tell me it's kind of weird, man. It's weird. At the very least, it's weird. Some people are just like, he's a shell. Maybe he is. That's the problem. I don't know either way now because this stuff is ridiculous when you compare it to what he says now. And even what he says, a year later, whatever.
Ben was out of the picture. He was, so-called, dead. So someone had to do it. She did. I'm cool with that. If I ever have a daughter, I want her to be like that. I want her to see that character and I want her to be, empowered by it. I
don't get it. Now she's a Mary Sue. So you loved her and now she's a Mary Sue. It doesn't make sense. Like, you don't make sense, dude. I understand changing your mind, but you don't make sense. I want a full-blown explanation about why you now think she's a Mary Sue and you loved it so much in The Rise of Skywalker, her character, and her being the one to destroy Palpatine instead of Luke and his dad, that you want your daughter, she's an example for your daughter. Like, dude, you gotta explain this, man. Like, this is not making any sense at all. Like, so I can see why people are throwing accusations around. Because here's the thing, if you don't explain yourself, then people are going to theorize, right? Star Wars theorize. That's what's going to happen. Because this doesn't make sense. And if you don't want it, then don't. Then don't address it. Just leave it. You're not obligated to, but you should. Because this doesn't make sense. And so people are going to draw their own conclusions when you do stuff like that.
The force healing thing puts a plot hole on a lot of things. Because now you can just, heal anyone. So I didn't really like that. But, whatever.
I didn't really like that, but whatever. It's still great. I still love it. It's still good. Force healing creates a lot of problems. Because you can just have anybody heal anybody at any time, but it's great. No, it's not great. It sucks. And now you have Grogu healing. Where did he learn that? He was at the temple. Did somebody teach this baby how to heal? Because he heals grief in The Mandalorian. Well, where was this healer guy when Anakin was going off the deep end? But it's okay, because it's great. It's great. I don't like it, but it's great. Right? Like, that's weird, dude. Like, I'm sorry, but that's weird.
I also didn't really like the fact that there's like teleportation of devices. I think that's very confusing and just strange. Like that doesn't. I know it's Star Wars, but it just doesn't really make sense to do that.
So what's great about the movies? Like, I don't get it. Like, I agree with them on that, but it's great. So we're doing force healing and teleportation of things, of items, of beads and lightsabers and water drops. Like, what? But it's great. It's great. It's an ovation level great. Doesn't make any sense. Yeah, like this doesn't make any sense at all. I feel like this would have been a great 6th episode to lead us into the rest. I feel like all of season 1 could have been summed up in a crawl to the end of episode 8. But I guess you can say that for anything. No, you can't. Then you're writing a novel. No, I mean, I said the whole time Ahsoka, I've reviewed it, it's maybe 4 episodes worth of stuff, maybe, and then everything just drags. Andor's the same thing, I know everybody loves it, but it drags on. It does. And then he goes, I rate the show. So this was October 4th at 12:13 a.m. This is October 12th, October 4th. It doesn't say the time, but so unless he posted it in that first 13 minutes of October 4th, this is after that post. And if he did post it before this, why would it say this? That it's just slow and an opening crawl and filler, essentially. So he probably posted that after that. That doesn't make any sense. Again, we're all over the place here. What do you really think, dude?
Welcome to the best Star Wars that we have had since Disney purchased Lucasfilm from George Lucas back in 2012. To me, this was the epitome of what Star Wars is.
Part of me thinks in some ways this guy gets really just emotional over Star Wars, and so he blabs on at the beginning. He's all excited, and maybe he does like think about it over time and start to be like, dude, this is stupid. But again, there's not enough of an explanation for that. Just total 180. It just doesn't make any sense.
I believe if Ahsoka wants to train Sabine, that's all fine and dandy, but I think that there needs to be some sort of a cap to Sabine's abilities. She can't go ahead and train for maybe like the whole season and then end up like force pulling objects and throwing them and using her lightsaber to throw it and bring it back. That to me would be absolutely ridiculous.
Okay, so then how is it an 8.5 out of 10? How is it an 8.5 out of 10? If they're making these really stupid decisions that are dumb. And they're not just dumb, they go against the lore. She's not trained to be doing anything. She didn't even actually, in fact, even in the show, all she really does is just lightsaber train. Yeah, she's got the helmet on and stuff, but what does that have to do with force pushing or moving things around? I mean, literally, what does that have to do with it? So, again, 8.5, but you don't like it. I'm so confused right now.
Now, Sabine could spend like a whole year to train in the Force, and she would maybe be able to move the cup. I'm okay with that. I think that's fine. If you're being trained by the apprentice of the Chosen One, and you're after a year being able to move a cup, okay, cool. But if she's gonna go anything beyond that...
Now, she uses the Force to push Ezra onto Thrawn's ship as well, successfully, and she ended up stranded there with Ahsoka as she goes to help fight the Night Troopers while Ahsoka fights Elsbeth. Now, I know many didn't like this. I didn't like this myself. And once I started to kind of think about what Hu Yang said about Sabine's potential from Ahsoka, I started to really maybe think that her lineage of Tar Vizsla would have passed down to her in some sense, and that she does have potential.
So Tar Vizsla was a male human Mandalorian warrior and the first leader of the Death Watch faction of the Mandalorian Civil War, blah, 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 blah. Sought to rid his immortal banditry. Okay, where's the Force stuff? Vizsla in the Death Watch reappeared where he managed to trap true Mandalorians. Okay, there's nothing here. Oh, okay, here we go. Hunting Jedi, hunting traps, personality and traits. Like, I don't think this guy had force power. I don't see anything here that says he did. I'm not seeing that. I don't get it. But here's the kicker. Even if he did, Star Wars Theory said that Rey should have trained. And she's a Palpatine. So, just saying. Pretty weird.
Sure, Rey is a Palpatine, but also it doesn't excuse her from not training, you know? So that's what I didn't like as well.
Okay, so, but it's an 8.5 out of 10, Ahsoka, with Sabine doing things that she has no business doing. And then he says, nah, I thought about it. Sabine using the Force makes sense. Her ancestor was very powerful. I'll just say that. But you already said that Rey was Palpatine and she still should have trained. You can't just do stuff. So again, which is it, bro? That's all I'm asking. I'm not mad. I don't hate you. I just don't get it, dude. I've been watching this guy's videos. I don't have any issue with it. And then all of a sudden I stumble across this stuff, these old reviews and stuff. And I'm going like, bro, you're all over the place. And then with Ahsoka, the same day he's contradicting himself. So which is it? Just say. First 2 episodes, 9 out of 10. Some dragging moments. Overall, I see where this is going. It's going to be wild, methinks. What do you rate it? If it's got dragging moments, I don't know how it could be a 9 out of 10. A 5, maybe. Maybe even a 6 if the non-draggy moments are good. But a 9? Just watch Ahsoka again to complete my breakdown of episodes 1 and 2, and I like it even more the second time around. Bro, we in for a treat. Thank you, Dave. Okay, even though it drags. Thank you, Dave Filoni, episode 1 breakdown. But they're 9 out of 10s, but... Oh, I don't get it. Episode 3 is the most George Lucas Star Wars we've had since Disney bought Star Wars. If you don't understand why, watch my breakdown, but essentially the explanation of the Force and how it resides in everyone is something George has said off-screen for decades. That doesn't mean everyone can wield it, Theory. You know that. You know that. You're making excuses for Sabine, who also, by the way, got stabbed and lived. That's what made the show a 8.5 out of 10, was Sabine getting stabbed and the next day getting out of bed and walking around being perfectly normal and fine. That and the Force push. That made it an 8.5 out of 10. Another 9 out of 10 episode, Ahsoka episode 3. 10 out of 10, give Filoni a raise. 20,000K live in tonight's watch party. The community is so strong when Star Wars is good. This is what I was getting at earlier. I'm quite certain that his streams do better when there's positivity around the show. And so he seems to be super positive, and then after the show ends, he descends into the truth about it. I mean, everyone's allowed to change their mind, but when you're changing your mind this many times, people are going to ask questions. That's just the way it is. Dave Filoni, the GOAT. So this is just last year, and now he seems more sour on Filoni, I think. Not necessarily super sour, but he's certainly not happy. I know the Acolyte threw him off the deep end too, but again, he changed his mind on the Force Awakens pretty quickly, The Last Jedi completely, long before Rise of Skywalker. Now, and he loved The Rise of Skywalker and The Last Jedi, now he hates them. What's with Disney not wanting OG characters to take back their lightsabers? What happened to this weapon is your life?
In all seriousness, I think it's actually really refreshing and really cool how he was like, no, I don't need to use my saber. The Force is all I need.
What? Like, guys, I don't know how that's even possible. I don't get it. You literally tweeted that why wouldn't Ezra want his lightsaber, and then you said it was cool. That's a just total contradiction right then and there. I don't get it. Can the real Star Wars Theory stand up, please? Like, this makes no sense.
I enjoyed the show. I liked the show. I thought the acting was great, music was great, set design, everything was expensive, everything looked good. It wasn't claustrophobic like Obi-Wan Kenobi was.
So a couple things there. So he's talking about Andor, which, I didn't particularly like, although there was a few things I liked in it. I thought it dragged on way too long, and I don't like the amoral rebels and all that stuff. George Lucas made it very clear it was good versus bad. The rebels are good people, and they're not bad. There was some major issues with that, although I will say the prison stuff was really cool. I did like that. So, but at the end there, you notice he said, but Kenobi was claustrophobic. Okay, well, let's see what he says about Kenobi then.
Now, was the season perfect? No, absolutely not. Are there problems with it? Absolutely. Is it something George Lucas would have created? Probably not.
Probably not. But he's going to say it's good. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, he talks all the time about how all the Disney stuff is crap because it goes against what George Lucas would want. And he's like a George Lucas sycophant or whatever. And then he says this.
But did I like it? Were there parts that really helped embellish the story and evolve the characters? And the answer to that, for me, is yes.
Like, okay, figure that out, guys. Like, I don't know. Does that make any sense to you? Did this show honor what George Lucas wanted? Of course not. We know for a fact there was no meeting between these two characters, Anakin and Kenobi, from Mustafar on to the original Star Wars on the Death Star, and we have literature to prove this. What character, what part of the show for any of the characters added to their existing character at all? Leia could have been kind of cool, but Kenobi should not be going and seeing her. He should be watching over Luke. And they kind of bungled so many of those scenes that it's hard to take her character seriously because everything else around her was just so terribly done. So nothing against the actress. She was fine, but like the story and all the people around her were so cringe that it just sucked. So who? Like what character? What character? They made Vader look like an idiot. He stood on the other side of the fire while a loader droid just picked up Kenobi and walked him away after he just flung Kenobi around in the Force. Could have just picked him up in the Force and taken him away to go torture him. And he just stands there. Like, they made everybody look like idiots.
Overall, it did help the characters in many ways. More ways than it damaged them, I think. Did it affect the canon? Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, but what about the decline? Like it's just declined since Disney got it. It's super confusing. And so that's the only reason I want to do this video. This isn't about putting this guy on blast as much as it's just about, can I get some form of an explanation as to how you go from where you were to where you are now, and in-game switching, like it's the same day contradicting tweets and same day contradicting what you tweet with what you say. I get it. Like, if you've done a lot of content, there's going to be times where there's something that's contradictory, right? Or that you've changed your mind. Totally get it. I'm sure if somebody scoured all my videos, there's probably something I said about something that I would not say now. Of course. No problem. I get that. But this is a catalog of different opinions. And again, some of them even on the same day. And then praising all these Disney shows, and there's other ones too that he praised. I think he liked Visions and a few other ones. And then saying it's all gone downhill from Disney for the last year or so. So, very confused. I would love an explanation. Will the real Star Wars theory please stand up? If you like this content, please like, subscribe. Always helps the channel. Feel free to check anything else on my channel. Have yourselves a really good day.